Welcome to Bothering the Band. My name is Ryan Bynek, and with me, as always, is Abigail Ann Levy. We have a very calming, relaxing episode today. We're just peeking over the Chesterfield with our new friend Kaelen, who makes music under the name AMAARA, and she's also on my favorite show currently called From. If you know, you know. We're so excited to have AMAARA on this amazing, wonderful episode of Bothering the Band. Welcome to Bothering the Band. You're gonna have fun.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Okay, so we always start off. How are you?
I'm well. It's an interesting time, in the world just in general. And but I feel lucky. I'm in my hometown and it's in the mountains in British Columbia. It's been warm and the river is running clear now. And yeah, I just feel grateful for lots
Oh,
of things.
love it. Abby knows a lot about rivers and running clear. She's spent some time in the mountains. So one of the questions was, where are you from? Because and I'm gonna butcher this, but so you've been on our radar. I'm watching this great show, this spooky great show, and I'm like, okay. When Sarah sent over the stuff, I was like, holy shit, that woman or that person is from the show fucking From, and it just blew my mind. And then I was telling someone else, and they were like, that person's from Hit and Run, and it was just this cadence of like unveiling of how famous you are in our world. Do you get
That's cool.
recognized? When's the last time you got recognized?
I've been recognized once.
No.
Once, and it was recently in an art gallery in a city in Calgary, Alberta, where are you guys in Canada or the US?
The US. We're
You're
both
in
in
the US.
Florida.
Oh, wow,
Yeah.
cool. I've never been to Florida, one of the states I've never been, and I hope to come soon. Um, yeah, I got recognized recently in an art gallery in Calgary, Alberta, which is a city that I kind of started my music life in. Um, and it was really cute. They came up and said, "Are you an actor?" I said, "Yeah." And then she held up her cell phone with my picture on it. And I was like, "Whoa, yep, that's me." And it just been, yeah, it never happened to me before, not for Hit and Run or anything. Which is kind of nice, It's sweet to be recognized for your work, but obviously for some folks in music and acting, it can be a totally different um, part of the spectrum. Can get a little intense for people for sure. And I just appreciate still being able to head out in sweatpants and do whatever.
Oh,
you know?
100%. I was just saying to Abby today, I'd be like, it'd be great to be like Paul Dano famous, because you're in these like magical movies, and then you could still take the subway. Like that's what I would aspire to, is head down, sunglasses on in New York City without anyone farting around.
I feel like that stuff is also location dependent too. Like you mentioned New York City and how many photos are there of huge actors or directors on the subway. New York is such an anonymous place in that way. And I think you can see folks, and for the most part, they're kind of left alone. Um, but in other areas, it's probably not the same. I don't really know, but it would be sweet to be able to work with the best of the best in the world and still go wherever you want, and all of it be cool.
Yes, indeed. So back to being surprised and putting two and two together with, a musician we like and a show that I like a lot. And I'm trying to get Abby to watch From. Everyone should watch this. I've seen it like blow up. I've watched it since day one. It's fucking fantastic.
That's
What's the
awesome.
what's the last thing that just surprised you? Pleasantly, let's say pleasantly.
Pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, no negative on bothering the
Yeah.
band.
Okay. I love this. I love staying in the positive. Well, my family is growing. One of my sisters just got engaged, and my other sister's having a baby in November. So that's amazing. Um, these types of questions are always ones that I'll think of the best answer once we finish this conversation.
Of
So
course.
if you plan on asking me like what films I'm excited to see, tell me now and I'll think about it over the next 20 minutes. Because
I mean, just put that on your radar now because I was also saying that I'm so excited for Indiana Jones. I know it's probably not going to be the best, but I'm very excited for that.
yeah. Well, since I came up with a question for myself, I think I have some answers for you for later.
Lay it on me.
um, yeah, what was I excited about? I mean, I know there are things. Um, yeah, I'll think about that. Maybe I'll interrupt you in 10 minutes and be like, I know now.
Well, this is the next question we have is what shows do you love or have you recently binged?
I just binged Blackbird on Apple TV. Yeah, because I've been working on this album release campaign, and it's kind of a one-person operation aside from my amazing publicist. And so I had been on the watch pause for a while. Usually I'm into a few things, at least trying to keep up for work and know what's out there and who's doing what. But yeah, I watched Blackbird, which was really good. It was, have you seen it?
I know about it. I have not seen it. It's Taron Egerton.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of the name of the man who plays Larry Hall. It's based on true events, serial killer show.
I feel like that's Abigail's territory.
Is it? Have you seen it?
I don't have Apple TV.
Oh yeah,
So
you refuse.
I do. I do want to see it, but I can't.
She likes murdery, scary stuff.
Well, it's kind of nice in this show because the killer isn't glorified as some recent shows have been really knocked for, and I appreciate that. And it isn't graphic so much. It's really about the relationship between this man who is a drug dealer who is asked to go into the prison. He's arrested for his own crimes and is asked to go into this prison for the criminally insane to try and get a confession from this other guy. The acting, there's some really incredible performances in the show. So I recommend watching it for that. It's eerie, super eerie and crazy that these things happen in real life, but I guess they make for good television, huh?
Yeah. I mean, I love Eerie and a great cast. There's so much shit that I just can't even keep up. It's like, I want to watch that. And then it just gets buried for like 7 months until I get there.
That's one really interesting thing about the world we're in now is just the amount of content is absolutely impossible to keep up with. I'm super curious to see what happens with all the restructuring that's happening in the industry now with the Writers Guild striking and SAG pending striking. But I mean, we need to be restructuring what everything looks like in the streaming world that we're in, so that everyone can get a fair cut of the pie, so to speak. But that might mean a little less content coming out, who knows? But it's a lot for sure. It's wild.
It is bananas. Here's a first really dumb question is soap operas. Did you or your family watch soap operas growing up? Also, are there like in America, there's like 5 soap operas that have been on for 20,000 years. Are there Canadian soap operas that have been on for a while that are staples?
Okay, so I think Young and the Restless is an American one, right? I was not allowed to really watch TV growing up. We had 2 channels. We were allowed strangely, we were allowed like 30 minutes of either Seinfeld or Home Improvement. Seinfeld obviously not being made for children. But yeah, we were sort of very limited in our screen time, which I appreciate. But I remember some of my friends' moms being home and like are not Young and the Restless fans, and I'd be like peeking over the Chesterfield being like, oh my gosh, what is this show? It's so dramatic and someone's always crying and we're kissing or whatnot. But the closest thing we had I guess would have been, we went traveling when I was a kid, when I was 12, to New Zealand and Australia for a year. We went backpacking, and we lived in a town for a period of time, and their show in Australia, or sorry, New Zealand, is Home and Away. And I wouldn't call it so much a soap opera. It's a little bit soapy, but it's more like, oh gosh, I'm trying to think of, I think like Margot Robbie might have come up in that show. Sort of, I might be wrong. One of the big Australian actresses started in that show. I think a lot of actors, had some episodes when they were young. So maybe it was closer to like Gossip Girl meets The OC meets something a little more family friendly. I don't know. If S Club 7 could be a TV show,
Wow.
then it would be, in my memory. I might be way off here, but that's my memory. Abby's having a laugh over here.
I just, no one, the S Club 7, that's a first, I
Bananas.
think, for the podcast. It's a deep cut. I haven't thought about that in a while.
Oh my gosh. Well, when we were over there, we traveled in a van for 9 months, and we had a little ghetto blaster just sitting in it was an old ambulance, like, to my absolute horror, that I came home from school one day and my dad had bought another vintage ambulance for us to travel in. And I was like going on 13, just thinking, this is the most uncool van, that I've ever seen. Cut to me now in my life, like looking for one to buy for myself.
I was gonna have two follow-ups. One is another ambulance. So it was a second ambulance.
Oh yeah. Well, I think the first van we had when I was a kid was an old Ford Econoline. It looks like a little cartoon character, and my car seat was bolted to the motor cover in between the two front bucket seats, like facing the windshield, which is not really recommended for infants, but I got to see the open road as a kid. And then, yeah, I mean, I just wanted to be like everyone else. I wanted the minivan and the nice stuff, but yeah, we were a little more alternative, which again I appreciate now. But back to S Club 7 quickly, we had a ghetto blaster in the back of this van in New Zealand, and there were a handful of CDs that probably got played like in the hundreds of times, and it was Lauryn Hill, Miseducation, S Club 7, Moby Play, and I'd have to yell down to my sisters for the other ones, but I think there was a Red Hot Chili Peppers, Californication, because that came out that year. And I just read his memoir, by the way.
Wait, who is Flea or
Anthony Kiedis? I haven't read Fleas yet, but
I read both. I've read both. I recently Kiedis though. I read Fleas first. Highly recommend both, but Fleas hit me a little bit more.
Oh, okay, cool. I'm really interested in that. I went down a dive for that with that band that I hadn't, even when I was into them as a teenager, after reading that memoir. I guess just being a musician now too, but being from such a different upbringing and such a different trajectory as a musician, that it's just so fascinating to read some of those stories, like kids who grew up in LA or New York. It's very different than Fernie, British Columbia, I can tell you that.
That's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. We just saw Chili Peppers last year in Orlando, actually.
Oh, sweet.
We have a soft spot for them in our hearts.
That's
and we grew up very
awesome.
different. I will say this, that you had the luxury of a car seat, which I don't think we had. I'm a little older, but I feel like you're like, it's facing forward, which is a huge no-no. And I'm like looking back and I'm like, I don't even think we had a car seat.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Were you like pickup truck baby, like in the middle?
No, but there were moments where someone's dad would be like, let's hop in the truck and go to the store. And we'd hop in the back, and I have a daughter, she's 8, and I would never fucking let her do that now. Ever. I do want to buy an ambulance though.
Yeah, they're good conversion bands.
I just want to leave it all original.
The gurney in the back and
I want
all that.
IVs flopping
You
around.
could just run like a vitamin IV operation. Those are pretty hot these days. If you want a side hustle,
Okay. Do you work out?
Yeah.
Okay. How often? Are we talking like diligent working out? Are we talking casual? I'll run in the wilderness or whatever.
I try to move every day. I'm pretty episodic when it comes to what I'm doing, just because my landscape, environment, lifestyle changes depending on what I'm doing. When I was filming From, I went back to the gym for the first time since in that way, like almost since high school. It's like lifting weights, and it just felt like an environment. Everyone else was also doing it too. So I'd see like my cast members there. And I like to run, and I'm a huge swimmer. So in the summer, whenever I can get into a lake or a river, I'm there. And yoga is always something I can kind of carry with me everywhere. But I've been thinking about weights again, because you get older, and apparently it's just really important to keep the muscle density for the bones. And I can feel it. I don't know, I'm still young, but I can start to feel the shift already. So gotta keep taking care. I think it's consistency that's interesting when you have a lifestyle that's so inconsistent is the word. Inconsistent.
Well, Abby and I were just talking about the sounds our bodies make when we first wake up in the morning. And,
Yeah.
and I said I compared mine to like opening a bag of chips. And it's just all ankles and knees. It's like, I don't know if it's supposed to sound like that. I'm not really sure. And I try to move too. My doctor recently said, he's like, as long as you're moving your body 15 minutes a day, you're good. And I was like, oh, I can do that. I can do that.
Is that specific to you, or
I don't know.
you need to ask next time? So I need to know whether or not I should go to the doctor.
You should probably move. Abby went to the beach today and she saw a shark. This is something else she was
wow.
saying
Oh yeah, you're
right
in
before.
Florida.
Right before you logged on. Okay, do you meditate?
I do.
Okay. And do you chant? Is it more breath focused? Is it environmental? Do you have to have silence? Can you do it anywhere? Like,
My practice is more sort of rooted in Zazen, a bit of a hybrid of Vipassana. So it's usually done in a quiet space, but a lot of the practice is based on equanimity. So if there is sound or distraction or whatnot, it's about sort of really being neutral to any sensation in the body, any thought that arises, any sound, things like that. So my practice is sort of, sometimes I will get really focused on one thing if I've just been to a course or studied with a teacher. But then sometimes I'll read Joe Dispenza or listen to a bunch of Sam Harris and kind of get some
I like Sam
ideas. Yeah, you're pro Sam Harris. I feel like it goes one way or the other.
yeah. Sporadically though. Abby and I have also over the years like Thich Nhat Hanh.
Mm,
We like that dude. He's fun.
he's awesome. One of my very dear friends is a deep Thich Nhat Hanh student, I would say, self-prescribed student. Yeah. Yeah, so it's similar to my workout regime. It's like I have a practice that's my own, and I try to sit every day, and but it is subject to a little bit of shift or flow, I suppose, depending on where I am, or if there's something I feel. I'm really into neuroplasticity. I think it's an amazing tool for growth and just like self healing, especially if you're prone to negative self-talk, which I think most people can be, unfortunately. So I'm really into that. And when I started reading about just neuroplasticity from a neuroscience perspective, and then getting into certain authors or teachers who use practices to change the wiring of the brain to get into the subconscious and actually shift how we operate in our autopilot mode, it was really inspiring to me just to add some of that into my meditation practice and see how it started changing how I just operated in my day-to-day life and automatically responded to circumstances I was in or am in. So yeah, I'm a huge proponent meditation and just those sort of healing arts.
I appreciate that. I know Abigail does. And don't they have a great voice? You keep talking because I'm just like vibing out right here. You know,
Thanks.
great soothing voice. And I'm gonna follow that up with a really dumb question. We're gonna like just go off the rails right now. Would you rather be hit by a car or run over by a bunch of bulls?
Holy smokes. I got to pretend I was hit by a car once, and even watching that back, I was like, I don't think I ever want that to happen in real life.
It's pretty violent looking when you see it. I've seen it in New York, and I'm like, oh,
Oh, you saw someone get hit by a car?
not even bad. Like just I saw a woman get clipped and roll on the hood by a cab, and she was totally fine, but it looked so dicey. Like I was like, oh my God, I can't finish these nachos now. And she popped back up.
I feel like your question is conducive to be asking, like, do you want to get struck by lightning or like killed by thunder, if that's even possible?
I don't know, but that's very poetic, and I'm writing that down.
Nice. I don't know. I mean, the bull thing sounds pretty terrible. It sounds like a slow and painful way to go. Maybe I guess you're not really asking if I'd rather die one way or the other. It's like, would you rather this happen or that happen?
Well, I appreciate you really overthinking this.
Terrible two options to give a person.
I was thinking about this, and I was like, I feel like where are your odds better of like coming out less scathed?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that with the bulls, you might have more of a mystical experience getting trampled by a herd of bulls as opposed to, some jerk who wasn't looking where they were going in the car. Just the violence of like a man-made metal thing as opposed to, all these, wild animals, and just the experience of that could be really life-changing. Who knows? I guess I'll go for that. My final answer today is I would prefer to get run over by, did you say a pack of bulls?
I said by a bunch of bulls.
A bunch. Okay. A bunch or a herd or whatever the term is.
Something like that. Okay. This is for both of you right now, because I'm curious your opinion. In public, you have a hair stuck in your mouth like I do right now because I have a gross beard. What's the protocol for getting it out? Because I can't stop thinking about it right now.
Oh my God. Okay, are you eating or not eating?
The hair?
Yeah, like, is it happening when you're eating or like just random?
Let's say both. Say once while you're eating at a work dinner.
I think it's always going to depend who I'm around and whether I want to make a scene about it. Because if it's a hair in your food that's not yours and you're with a close friend, you're going to be like, oh, like probably pulling it out and making it super dramatic. If I was by myself, I'd probably do it very discreetly.
Does it gross you out if someone else does it? That's what I'm trying to get to.
Oh, yeah, that's a bit of a weird thing to watch someone do for sure.
I know. Hi, nice to meet you.
Yeah, you're a sweater cover person. You can just pretend to take your sweatshirt off, and while you're inside, handle it and then unveil,
But also just trim your gross beard and that won't be as much of a problem.
I have to go do that soon.
You could do that for sure.
Even if it's short, it's still all right. Whatever, y'all. Okay, Venus Williams or Venus de Milo, the sculpture, and you can only choose one.
Williams.
Good answer. Moving on. Just doesn't even matter. How do you feel about Crocs?
Look better on everyone else than me. Want to get down. I dream of having like some, neon orange with my old Levi jeans, and I just haven't got there, maybe personally. I will say though that my dad bought me a pair a bunch of years ago before they were street style items, and I literally said, oh, thanks. What are these for? And he used them in the garden, and my mom used hers in the garden. So I think, I don't know where they are now. They started to get ripped up and everything. Maybe they'd be a relic now. Should try and find them. The originals.
The vintage.
Yeah, so I mean Balenciaga took it on. There's got to be something to it. I'm not really a trendy person, though. I'd like to be fashion forward, but I'm always focused on other things, I guess. Need help with that.
But that's the philosophical thing, is are Crocs fashion forward, or did like fashion have to go backwards to get there?
You have to think about Idiocracy and what they said. Have you seen this movie, Idiocracy?
No, I haven't.
It's a great movie in general, but they're in the future. Like, these people were cryogenically frozen and the experiment goes wrong. They wake up like 1,000 years in the future and America's just a wasteland.
A bunch of
Weird.
dum-dums. It's a comedy.
Yeah, it's a comedy. But when they were dressing the people of the future, the director was like, the costume designer was like, well, I'm looking for these shoes. Like, they need to look like idiots would wear them. Like, the people of the future have overbred and they're stupid. And she's like, I need idiot shoes. And so she went on this huge search and she found Crocs and she brought them back to the set. And this was before, probably when you had a pair. It was before they were everything.
Oh, wow.
Because this movie's like late 90s, probably.
Okay.
Early 2000s. And so they were, the director's like, well, those are hideous, but what about them? She's like, well, they're idiot shoes. Like, idiots would wear these things. Like, what if they get really famous one day or really popular? And she was like, they're idiot shoes. They never will. And that's how everybody in the sad dystopian wasteland American future ends up wearing Crocs.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I think I have a challenging relationship with just that world as it pertains to consumerism and capitalism and trend, and just that we get fixated on these things, that at the end of the day, it's like a piece of rubber that's probably really not very good for the planet. And some of them are costing thousands of dollars, and just the fixation that we get on these certain things. And yeah, where we're living in such an attention economy that it's like, it's tough for me, because I know I get caught up in it just as much as the next person, but it's a weird chapter we're living in, maybe just because everything is accessible to most people, or at least to a lot, to the privileged. It's we don't need to get dark. We said we were going to keep this light, right?
Yeah, let's go somewhere else. Okay.
Yeah.
How do you feel about snagging something from a neighbor's garbage, meaning like furniture or something secondhand?
Oh, I'm all for secondhand finds wherever. I'm not going to jump into a dumpster. Probably, I've never done that, but great chair in an alleyway or on the side of the road, I'm all for it. And I would love if I put my own stuff out on the street, if someone would actually come and take it.
Yeah. I asked this. Well, second question is, if you're grabbing something, let's say you're grabbing a chair out of your neighbor's garbage and they see you, are you embarrassed? And if so, why?
I might have been in the past, but I think now I've become more comfortable with just being who I am. And I'd probably say, are you really getting rid of this? I love it. I'm going to try and use it in my house.
That's real good. Oh, yeah.
Because I think it's so funny with situations like that, because you can make it really embarrassing for yourself, even though it doesn't have to be.
This just happened to me yesterday. So amazing. That's where this is coming from. I saw a table. I'm looking at it right now. I saw a table, like, I don't know, five doors down. And I went to go get coffee and I came back and then I was like, I'm going to go get that fucking table. And I walked and I grabbed it and it's big. So I had to put it on my body and walk kind of blindly. And then I heard the neighbor, and I know them kind of, and I heard their garage open. So I know they just saw me walking away. I didn't even look back. And I thought to myself, why am I embarrassed though? I think you helped me there. I should have turned back and be like, dope table.
What about secondhand embarrassment? I went with my sister to walk her dogs a week or so ago, and her neighbor had a whole like all these bar stools and this like patio table and stuff, and they were all around the trash can. And I was like, oh, they're throwing that stuff away. And my sister's like, why? I was like, because I just bought a place. Maybe I need some of this furniture. And I like she's like, what are you doing? That's their trash. And I was like, that's the point. It's their trash. Plus it's 9:30 at night and there's no street lights here. So if I take this bar stool, like what, they're going to come find me and be like, no, that was supposed to go to the dump. And she was so embarrassed.
Very true.
And then her dog set off some motion sensor light on their house. So then all of a sudden we were like flooded in light, and she like scurried away.
That's so
Amazing.
funny.
I did not take the chair. It was really gross, actually. But
So many butts are on it.
I found a chair on the side of a highway once that ended up being featured in a magazine, and it was like a $3,000 or $4,000 chair. It's amazing. It's a huge olive green leather chair that fits. It's just a big, like sort of old designer armchair.
It's not like an Eames chair, is it?
No. I hope I'll find an Eames on the side of a road one day. But it was like, it could be the equivalent of, if it, it's that nice. But yeah, it was a freebie. So.
Oh, that's fun.
Got to get it when you can.
I love it. In the same turn, a couple months ago, I put tools out by the front, and someone snagged those immediately. Like, I couldn't even believe how fast it was. So I'm happy the cyclical thing. And next time, I never used to get like this in New York. I would steal something from the garbage and feel nothing. But I don't know, something about the suburbs in South Florida.
It's a little bit different.
Very
different.
Specifically your location.
I know.
Because the fact of the matter is, you are being judged.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm already the only one like covered in tattoos in this like well-to-do suburban neighborhood. Okay, you worked with Ruben in the Dark.
I did.
And I have a soft spot for. I love that band. What songs did you work on? Which songs are you most proud of?
I co-wrote on Love.
Okay.
And otherwise I joined the band when Funeral Sky was finished, and I kind of replaced a guitarist. And so a lot of it was written. I worked on Stay Wild after the fact, which I love that song. I sing on a bunch of the Unloved record. There's Wise Man is a really cool one. And I don't know if they play that song very often live, but I really love that song. I think it's cool. It's more like poetry, I suppose. Spoken word in a way. But yeah, what else? Wild. We did like some Leonard Cohen covers that I worked on, and there's a song called Red River that I worked on. But yeah, it was sort of, even though I was in the band for a long time, my involvement was always sort of around actually writing a record or recording a record. And so I don't have a huge list of songs that I was on in the studio or anything.
I love it. I just wanted an excuse to talk about a great band. That was it.
Yeah.
I'm also dodging any mention of From, because I feel like you're in the thick of it with the finale yesterday, and we try to be a little bit different here. So
nice. I love it.
I told myself, I was like, don't bother her about From. Go get that table from the garbage.
I got a coffee table from what's called the free cycle at the dump in my hometown today from my mom's house. So you're not alone, friend.
I love it. It's again, you can't see it, but it's a big table, and it's gonna be perfect for my daughter to like draw. She draws a lot, so that'll be her jam. Do you have a dream catcher in your home?
No, I don't.
No dream catcher. That's surprising.
Is it?
Yes.
I bought one.
Do you know why it's surprising?
I have a few guesses of why you might think I would, maybe.
Oh, it's just because you have a song called Dreamcatcher.
Oh, nice.
It's nothing what you're thinking. It's just
Well, it's funny because that song isn't really about a dream catcher, so to speak. Yeah, no, I bought a dream catcher from a Blackfoot artist in Calgary some years ago. And I think it's actually now in the desert with Ruben from Ruben in the Dark. He has it.
cool.
Yeah, I don't have a dream catcher at the moment.
I like that. This episode is turning into like secondhand. What did you say? Secondhand gift giving and
Yeah, keeping
recycling.
things
I
in the
love it.
cycle. It's good. I love it.
Yeah, totally. Um, what music did you listen to today?
Today, holy smokes. There was a bunch playing in our house. I had to Snow Allegra, Kendrick Lamar, and 36, which is one of my favorite ambient artists, like literally just the number 36.
Yeah, I know of them because of an interview we read with you and
Oh, really?
Tower Records.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Yeah, he made a record called Stasis Sounds for Long Distance Space Travel, which is just a bunch of really incredible ethereal, like it literally feels like you're traveling through space. And it's often just the first thing I put on when I get up in the morning.
That's great. I copied you a few times because we do a big deep dive, but then also we're music geeks. We're not musicians. We're music geeks at heart, and so we take it very seriously. And anytime someone in the world is like, "You gotta listen to this," we're like, "All right, we're doing it right this second."
Amazing.
So keep the recommendations coming. Okay. Do you ever dream in Hebrew?
No, just simply don't speak enough of that language. That would be amazing if I
That
did.
would be
Though.
fun if you couldn't speak it in real life, but somehow dreamed it. That'd be real
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you describe your music?
Oh, it's really interesting that you asked this question because I've always described it as ethereal dream pop, and I don't know if the new record is that anymore. I think there's some dream pop there. I guess there's also just some indie pop and pop rock. But I know that I'm really influenced by ambient music and cinematic scores and things, and that's partly probably what I'm always trying to achieve is just the feeling of that in the music. So it's really hard. I'm the worst. Like when I'm trying to pitch my stuff to Spotify playlists and everything, and they ask you like, what genre is this, or what is the feeling of this song? I'm really terrible at it. So
Well, you're not the only one. You're not the only guest to be like, I don't know. Like,
I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah. I guess it's funny too when you're in your head as an artist and you think, oh yeah, this was really influenced by my relationship to jazz music and R&B music and even world music I grew up listening to. And it's so subtle probably to the outside listener that they'd be like, there's no R&B in this. I'm like, no, there is. There really is.
Yeah. It's right here.
Yeah, that's right. You hear that in the beat? That's R&B. So yeah, maybe just still in the dream pop area to keep it simple, but I'm not the one to ask. I always want other people to tell me so I can, categorize it for myself.
Oh, of course. I mean, we like to ask that question because we feel the most of the time the artist will, even by not answering or not being able to capture it, it says so much. Then you get sometimes, Abby, who was it that we had on that was described as pop punk, and it couldn't be further from the truth. Like it was, I think it was Bedouin Sound Clash. Does that ring a bell? I think we had them on, and we're like, found one description of your music as pop punk. I was like, I don't think that's correct.
Pop punk, that's very different than I would describe their music. I haven't heard their stuff in a long, long time, but when they kind of came out, it was way more like folk dub, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it's like folky reggae. hip hop punk rockish, if you really want to go that way.
They called it art world reggae.
There you go.
Right.
Art world reggae, the whole mandala.
We've had a lot of Canadian acts on this pod. So much so that we've been, oh, you're just a Canadian music podcast now. I'm like, all right.
Okay. It's cool. I know we appreciate it. We don't always get the opportunities, so especially down where you are. So it's great.
Well, I'm like, whatever. They're making good. We just go where the good music is. That's really it. And people we like. Okay, first love, acting, filmmaking, music.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, the order in which I've done things has been filmmaking, music, acting, but I would not say that's necessarily the order. I think I probably fell in love with music first, because I grew up listening to it. I was exposed to music before anything else. And I grew up around a lot of it and a lot of live music. And yeah, I think I always thought I would want to play one day, but I didn't start until my mid-20s. It was just a long.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah, and acting too was even later. I started acting in my late 20s. I had these pipe dreams that I was sort of actively moving towards, but I went to film school and started making fashion films and music videos, and yeah, just kind of like supporting other people in their visions for themselves in a way. And I think finally it just dawned on me, I really need to start playing in bands and start actually trying to be an actor, and just kind of threw all my energy into that. I appreciate my background as a filmmaker because it kind of supports all of it. I'm going off on limbs here.
We love it. I'm trying to keep up with the writing notes, even though we're recording it. I take notes, like
Nice.
doing my best. Okay. Do you follow us on Instagram?
I think so. From the other day.
Please do. And everyone, I don't know whichever your Instagram you want to choose, but I have AMAARA. How do you, I gotta spell it because it's the word combined.
AMAARA.
AMAARA.
Oh, it's
That's
so
your Instagram.
annoying. Yeah, my original Instagram, which was very easy, got deleted by Instagram forever, and I can't retrieve it. So I was trying to come up with a new one. So it's AMAARA Mara, but the A's are mashed up.
There's a name for that. There's some sort of literary device for that. I don't know what it is. Like race car spelled backwards is race car. What's that one?
Oh, like mom or dad?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, what are they
you went
called?
the norm- Oh, like mom or dad.
like those words.
The much easier ones to wrap our heads around.
Yeah, there's some for sure. There's some
But
better
they're palindromes. Just
palindromes.
Oh yeah, dope.
And what a great word that is, isn't it?
That is a fun one too.
it would have been more fun if they made it a palindrome.
Yeah, totally.
I feel like they missed a real cool
They
opportunity.
missed an opportunity. Yeah.
You said a word earlier that I really love, and I try to shoehorn it in my regular life, is episodic. I like that word a lot. That's a fun one. It's not too fancy. It's not too big for its britches, It's like just fancy.
Yeah, I've started. I don't know if you too feel this, like the older you get, the more you find yourself saying things that you would have heard your school teachers say or your parents' friends say or something like that. And I've started saying fits and starts lately. And I was like, dude, who are you? Like, are you 56 already? So I think episodic kind of just distills that into a better term. So I'm trying to go with that instead.
Oh, fits and that's so fun. We end the episodes. I got the giggles now. We end every episode with a song from the artist. What song of yours should we end this episode with?
Oh, of mine? When is this coming out?
Well, we're gonna move up, but you have a new album coming out, right? An EP, I believe, Child of Venus.
It's an LP. It's a first.
It's an LP. My bad.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
devils.
Devils. That's a good one too.
That's it.
That's a grandpa term right there. Oh, devils.
Yeah. Well, listen to the pod. You'll probably hear it a bunch. I say it a
Nice.
lot.
I'll take it. Well, if it's after July 6th that you're posting this, I would say maybe the song Still from the record is being released on July 6th.
I think this will be after that, because we are trying to, get a little second wave of promo for you. And, this is just how the cookie crumbles. I'm trying to think of
That's
more
awesome.
old-timey sayings.
Do you edit your podcast or is it just like right out the gate, whole thing?
She does. I don't
A
know.
little
which
bit
stuff.
of both, but
That's
it's
amazing.
mostly raw because I found when we edit things, you lose some of the context and the fun stories that we receive by asking off the wall questions.
Fair enough. Well, any of my dark limbs that are cuttable, feel free.
Okay.
Go into shadow territory all the time. Yeah, I've had a couple of recent interviews that where they were video interviews and there were even like Zoom freezes for like minutes at a time, and all that's up on YouTube. And I was like, well, we could have cut that
Oh
out.
no, I will always get that stuff at
No,
least.
totally.
Oh, we don't post video either. We're just strictly
Yeah, I
audio.
appreciate that.
This is a labor of love. It started during the pandemic, and we were just like, how do we befriend our favorite musicians?
It's
And
such a great idea. And just to have conversations that you don't have with other people, because doing press, obviously, sometimes you're fielding the same questions over and over again. And it's been interesting so far. I've had a real variety, craziest tour stories to like all these awesome questions. It's really cool. Appreciate what you're doing.
yeah, we try to be a little bit different. And to wrap this up, this is probably the hardest one since our first question we asked. If you could interview any musician, live or dead, who would you interview? But it's in the same vein as our dumb, very unprofessional.
Oh, wow. If he'd be down, Tom York. I feel like I've seen a couple interviews where he's still obviously like very intelligent but he's lighthearted enough that he might be down to play. I don't know. He's just my fave. So
I think if you were like, this is very different, then we don't care about like, what instrument used on Jigsaw falling into place. Like, we don't care about
he
any of that
probably, I
shit.
feel like maybe he'd appreciate that.
We want to know last time you spilled soup on yourself.
Yeah, totally. Do you drink tea on Saturdays? You drink tea all week or only on the weekends? If you ever get the opportunity to interview him and you need question ideas, just feel free to shoot me a message.
Okay, you got it. Tom York, he's coming up next. He's tomorrow.
Come on.
He's a big listener, but refuses to come on.
Are you true? Is that
No,
real?
no.
Oh, I was like,
that'd be such a funny thing. He's like,
fanning
great
out.
episode. I'm still not coming on.
Yeah.
By the way, we have a text relationship in this hypothetical.
Nice.
Okay. Drop some more what's next for you on us. Are you gonna tour, promo yourself?
Yeah, I'm really hoping to put a band together. We're waiting to hear about from season 3.
No, we all are.
We had sort of anticipated that we would have been back now if we were going forward, but the strikes are obviously a bit of a slowdown in that way. So yeah, I'm heading back out to Eastern Canada in a few days, and I'm going to try and put a band together and play some shows. And I haven't played live with AMAARA since 2019.
Oh wow.
So it's been a long time, and yeah, I miss playing shows so much. I used to tour a lot, and so that, and then yeah, there's some potential other film stuff happening that's still sitting on the table that I can't speak of yet.
Oh, I love it when guests do that. It's so exciting because then it's like a present in like 6 months. Then we're like, oh, that's
and we're like,
thing.
remember when they wouldn't tell us?
That was the thing. Well, also it's funny because especially in film, you might have something that you might have been picked for, but then you don't know until really I've kind of learned to just say, you know what, when I'm on set doing it, then maybe I have the job. And then maybe if I make the edit, then I really have the job. Like it's just, you can't attach yourself to those outcomes. So yeah, there's some potentially really cool stuff coming and hopefully season 3. And I'm excited to get this record out into the world. It's been done for a long time and it's I feel ready to make the next one too. So obviously got to make room for that. And
Oh, that's so inspiring. I love it.
yeah, thanks.
That's a great place to call this episode. This has been so much fun.
Thank you. Such a blast.
For real. I have to just geek out a little bit. Love your music. Love the show loved Hit and Run. Had no idea. I like in my weird mind, I was like, it's 2 individual artists. And then to find out it's like having these worlds come together was real fun. So thanks for that. And I'm happy. I don't want to spoil anything or geek out too much, but this has been great. And congrats on the new album. And we're
Thank
rooting
you
for
so
you.
much. Thank
Come
you.
to Florida. Abby will show you sharks.
My friend is building a house down there right now, and I really want to come visit. So I will 100% look you up.
Florida is a wild, wild place.
Yeah, I have never been to Miami.
I'm biting my tongue.
I mean, it's definitely got a reputation on some fronts, absolutely. But you two are there. My friends out there. There's obviously a cool community and really rad stuff going on, and it's stunning too. I've been to the south of like Georgia and South Carolina, and it's a special ecology down there.
It is.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for doing Bothering the
you.
Band. This is
Yapping
so
on
much
and
fun.
on and on and on.
Keep going. I'm just over here meditating.
Nice. All right. Well, thank you for having me so much.
Yeah,
Nice
no
to meet you
problem.
both.
Have a good one.
Still yours, still yours.